So born and raised in Reno, Nevada. How did you get started with? I mean, who gave you the love for baseball to right from the get-go?
Well, I think it was my dad, my uncle. I can remember playing baseball with them at 3 years old, 4 years old, and I was fortunate enough to have my uncle live with my family, and he was a big baseball fan, and I was named after him, so I'm David Justin, and he was David Clark. So it started there, and my entire family was Giants fans growing up. I can remember family barbecues. My grandma would make sure that the Giants game was on the radio, and we used to like to listen to the Giants games in the background. So, 1987 rolled around, and Will Clark came to the Giants. He was my favorite player, and I just really got into baseball at that point.
Good. So you did Little League and all that good stuff, and then made the Wooster High. You went to Wooster High and made their baseball team as well as football. So I know a lot of people know, obviously, you for baseball, but talk about your football career at Wooster.
Well, it was short-lived. It only lasted through my sophomore year. I played on the JV team, and I learned a lot being around Coach Sellers, and he actually had a big impact on my style of coaching and what I'm trying to accomplish. And in fact, I went and spent a couple hours with him about a month ago. So Coach Sellers definitely one of my mentors in coaching. Coach Malcolm was certainly somebody I learned a lot from and gave me an opportunity to coach on his staff and build my resume. We got to win a state championship when I was coaching at Wooster. That was pretty special, being that that's where I went to high school. So yeah, a lot of good experiences.
And then you played for the all-time, now Ron Malcolm, you mentioned, the all-time winningest coach at Wooster, and then you went to Santa Barbara, California to play college ball there, and that's where you started, or did you start?
Actually, I started at George Washington University in Washington, D.C., and I wasn't good enough to play, so I redshirted my first year and looked for some playing time, went to Santa Barbara City College, and got a lot of experience there. I think I pitched in 16 games or so. So, yeah, that was a great experience as well.
And then 1998 rolls around, and then your coaching career begins, and you got hired at Western Oregon University by the pitching coach, Jeremy Beard, who was the pitching coach last year for Western Nevada. Tell us about how you got started at Western Oregon.
Well, Western Oregon, it was actually Terry Baumgartner was the head coach at Western Oregon, and he was the youngest four-year college coach in the country at the time. I think he got the job at maybe 23 or 24, and Kevin Edwards had grown up with his brother and was a friend of mine, and I was looking to get into coaching, but also an internship for my sociology degree, and I ended up getting 9 credits for being a college baseball coach my senior season. So. Yeah, Western Oregon was a good experience, and Coach Baumgartner was great to me to give me that opportunity to assist him with the pitchers. And he's been an incredibly successful coach over his career, and I've been lucky to be around some good ones.
And then you spent a couple of years there, and then in 2000 you returned to Reno, and like you said, you coached with the Wooster High baseball team and Ron Malcolm, and you were also a social studies teacher. So tell us how you became a teacher for Nevada as well.
Well, I think when you grow up wanting to be a coach, you have 2 choices. You can get a teaching credential and be a high school coach, or you can jump in and be a college coach. And since I didn't have an outstanding playing career, and I had a love for teaching, I thought that teaching high school and being a high school baseball coach was what I wanted to do. So I went to Sierra Nevada College and got a teaching credential in history, and taught at Reed High School and Wooster High School while I coached baseball at Wooster, and really rewarding experience. I very, very much enjoyed teaching high school. When I got a chance to be a full-time college coach at Feather River College, then I gave up teaching to be a full-time college coach, and that's turned out to be fun as well.
You go back to 2002, where, as you stated earlier, you became the state champs for Wooster baseball. That was the first time in 19 years that a team from Reno had become the 4A state champs. Relive that year a little bit for us.
Well, we had a great team the year before and a bunch of good returning players. We actually made the state tournament, played down in Las Vegas. We got a good experience. We lost to Green Valley. pretty badly, and I can't remember who else we lost to, but we went 0-2, but we returned the nucleus of that team. Some great guys, Zach Bryson and Trevor O'Sullivan, and we had a great pitcher, Chris Toto and Charlie Gifford, a bunch of guys that went and had good college baseball careers, and they were a tight-knit group, and I think they really believed in themselves. And we had an excellent coaching staff with Nick Custer and Ron Malcolm and myself. You know, we didn't even beat Reno High in the regular season. In fact, Reno was the favorite going into the zone tournament. We were able to upset them in the zone tournament. It was kind of interesting. We got to Vegas back then. The state tournament was an 8-team tournament. There's 6 teams from Vegas and 2 teams from Northern Nevada in the tournament. And the Las Vegas newspaper and website ran a story and said, hey, pick who you think's going to be the champ, and they did a poll. And they gave 5 teams a chance to win. We weren't even one of the teams you could pick. So we felt like we were David battling Goliath, for sure. But we also knew that we believed in each other. And Chris Toto had an amazing experience or performance in that tournament. He pitched in all 4 games. He got 2 wins and 2 saves in 3 days and pitched 11 scoreless innings. So he threw a shutout, beat Gorman in the first game, and then pitched in relief in the second game the same day and got a save, and then pitched in relief the next day and got a save against Gorman also. And then in the state championship, he was the winning pitcher against Centennial High School. So really, we owe a big chunk of that to Toto putting us on our back and carrying us through.
Yeah, it's 2002, first time Gorman doesn't make it anywhere. Nobody seems to like Gorman down there. Then 2003, as you said, you go to Feather River College, and you stay there for how long? And
well, I got hired at Feather River, and I was only there for 1 year because Western Nevada opened their program the very next summer, and I applied for that position and got a chance to be an interview and be a finalist. And at that point, I called Feather River and said, hey, it looks like I might get this job here. Go ahead and rehire my position. But getting that job at Feather River, I owed that to Nick Custer, who gave me a recommendation with a friend of his, Reed Peters. And getting a chance to coach with Reed was awesome for my career. He's an outstanding person, an outstanding coach. Played AAA with the Giants and the Angels. He was a former Division I head coach at Air Force, Division I All-American at UNLV, academic All-American. I think he hit 20 home runs his junior season. And just a heck of a guy, really. A great family man and a great mentor. And I learned a lot coaching with him, and he gave me the opportunity to build my resume and get hired here at Western Nevada.
And so talk about Western Nevada. So how did you first hear of this program that just all of a sudden popped out of nowhere, saying, look, we're going to try and start a baseball team? So where did you first hear about that?
Michelle Lewis actually approached me, I think probably in October or November the year before, that, hey, we're starting a program in Carson, and we think that we'd like you to be a candidate for the job. And Michelle was a friend of my aunt's, and I didn't take it very seriously at the time because I didn't think that I'd had a chance to build my resume to the point where I was a competitive candidate to be a head coach. And I also really enjoyed my job at Feather River. Felt a lot of loyalty there, and at the time we were recruiting a lot of Northern Nevada players, so I knew that taking this job would be in direct conflict with that position. So I didn't really give it much thought until probably the next April or May, when I started getting some other phone calls saying that I would be a serious candidate if I had chose to apply.
Very nice. And then your dad, Harvey, had a lot to do with this field that's behind us, who is named after John L. Harvey. Tell us who John L. Harvey is.
Well, John L. Harvey's my great-grandfather, and he was the first Presbyterian minister in Carson City, started the First Presbyterian Church, and was a great minister here and raised his family here. My dad was born here in Carson City, so we have a lot of family ties to this community. And my dad spearheaded a fundraising effort, which there were a lot of people involved. Nevada Cement and Baselite and Red Hawk, and a bunch of people helped put money into this facility. And yeah, really a big part of our success over the years is this facility, not only from a recruiting standpoint, but from a practicing standpoint. Our first game every year is in January, and we play half the season before the first day of spring. More than half the season is in the winter, and the grass doesn't grow here in the winter. If you practice every day on dormant grass, pretty soon you don't have grass.
Yeah.
So having this turf's given us an opportunity to practice on a lot of days where other teams in northern Nevada are not practicing.
And it's also one of the best fields, not only in Carson City, where it is the best field in Carson, but in northern Nevada and all in the entire state. I mean, this field, if I'm correct, has hosted a high school state championship tournament.
Yes, yeah, we've had the high school state championships here for a couple different levels. I think 2 different times we've hosted that, and we've hosted regional and super regional tournaments for the NJCA here as well, and had some 17 and under. Had Joe DiMaggio World Series here one year, so yeah, it's a great facility. We're happy to share it, and it's holding up excellent.
Yeah. So the inaugural year for Western Nevada started in 2006, and you had 2 sophomores on that team. And anybody who knows junior college, you have 2 sophomores on your team, you're just starting out, your expectations probably can't be too high. What were your expectations going into your very first year as a head coach? It's a brand new program, never even played before. This program is just starting. What were your expectations going into that year?
Well, we talked about a couple of things. I mean, first of all, we talked about winning the national championship, and we thought it was a realistic goal, and we thought the way we would accomplish that was getting better faster than everybody else. We thought that every single day, every minute was going to be precious, from the first day of practice, August 10th, all the way until the last game of the year. Every day we needed to get better faster than everybody else. And we had a group of guys that believed in that philosophy. They believed that there was no reason they couldn't do it. You know, I did tell them that we weren't going to win the conference championship, because I thought the best team in the league was going to win the conference championship, and I couldn't imagine that that was going to be us. But I told them we would win the conference tournament, and we were going to keep winning tournaments until we were the national champs, because I did think we had a chance to get good enough to compete by the end of the year. But what happened is we had a bunch of players that didn't listen or didn't care what I had to say, and they went out and won the conference championship anyways. And the schedule was a little bit unbalanced in our favor. You know, we ended up finishing a half a game ahead of Dixie State, who had won the national championship in 2004 and had played in the World Series 6 times in the previous 10 years. I mean, they were the powerhouse program. And the schedule worked out favorably for us, and we ended up winning the championship.
And then the next year, you go in and you win even more and finish 5th in the national, a national finish, 5th place, and you go to the World Series in your 2nd year of competition. And you know, I know from my standpoint that's pretty good for having a college just popping out of nowhere. And you know, to me, when you're first starting a program in any sport, whether it be baseball, football, basketball, you're going to take a few years to get good and get better and actually strive for something, but you get all the way to the World Series and finish 5th. What tell us about that year and how special that was?
One of the things that I was not able to anticipate with this program was the quality of the assistant coaches that I've been able to work with. And Kevin Edwards, who started the program with me and was the assistant head coach at the time and the pitching coach and the recruiting coordinator, had an excellent blueprint for how to build a program, how to build a team. And he was there for me every day, helping me build this program. Aaron Demosthenes, you know, I couldn't have never dreamed of hiring a better hitting coach than I did when I hired Aaron, and I didn't even know it at the time. You know, I knew that some people that I respected, you know, recommended him, but he's wound up being probably my closest friend and the best hitting coach I could ever imagine, and a great mentor for me. I mean, when it comes down to making tough decisions in our program based on morals and doing the right thing, he always gives me the right answer. So that was something that, you know, was hard to anticipate. Having Andrew Patterson here, having Dennis Banks here, and Mike Gillies, and Jeremy Lipke, we've just had a bunch of great assistant coaches over the years that really prepare our players, I think, better than anybody. And then, you know, you talk about that second year, and 5 of the 10 pitchers pitched professionally, signed pro contracts. So you want to know why we made it to World Series in our second year? We had the best pitching staff on the West Coast, you know, led by Cole Rohrbaugh, who got a $700,000 signing bonus from the Braves, and Justin Garcia, who pitched in AAA, and Mason Tobin, who pitched in the big leagues, and TJ Woolover, who signed with the Braves, and Steven Sauer was a 9th-round pick of the White Sox out of ASU. I mean, we had all 5 of those guys pitching on the same team, and Dan Grubbs and Josh Brink and Jeremy Joustra. We had a phenomenal pitching staff, and we had some great leadership with Thomas Miller and Taylor Maris and Kyle Bondurant and Pat Grennan. We had guys that knew that it took hard work to get to where we wanted to go, and they were willing to do it every day. And our program's indebted to those guys for making it feel possible to accomplish something that a lot of people didn't think we'd be able to accomplish.
And how easier has the recruiting got now that this program is known as a national power in CJ, you know, in the junior college ranks? How easy is it for you to say, hey, come play with us? I mean, there's probably players now that call you saying, hey, I want to play for your team because you're a successful program. Players get drafted, players go on to the next level, and while I'm there, I'm going to go to the national tournament. So how much easier has it gotten to recruit players from 2006?
Quite a bit. Quite a bit. And I wouldn't say that we're necessarily recruiting any better players. The players are probably about the same caliber as they were before. The difference is it takes a lot less convincing on my part. You know, when I recruited Justin Garcia, for instance, I mean, it took me 4 months to get him to commit. And I spent several days with him several times on the phone, and made a trip to his home in Vegas. He made a trip up here. I mean, it was difficult to recruit him. And now, you know, when we've called and offered scholarships, sometimes kids accept them within a week, whereas before it might take a month or 2 months. So from my vantage point, the amount of time that I have to spend recruiting has decreased dramatically. And when Kevin, I guess, retired from our baseball program, you know, he had been doing so much of the recruiting work, and now I'm doing the recruiting on my own. And so thankfully it is easier because, you know, this year I'm bringing in 25 new players, and, you know, I recruited all of them. So, you know, I'm glad that it's getting easier because recruiting at junior college is difficult because of the size of the recruiting class.
And so this program has made it 3 times to the national tournament, 2007, 2009, and just last year, 2012. Which national tournament do you remember the most? Is it last year, was it 2009 or 2007?
Well, I think they've all been special, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's sitting on the fence to say they're all equally special, but I mean, as you asked me that question, that's what's coming to my mind. I mean, in 2007, having never been there, you know, I think we went in there thinking we were going to win it, you know, and we won the first 2 games, including beating the #1 ranked team in the country. And until Sanjak whooped us on Tuesday night, I think we thought we were going to win it. And that was fun, going in there being young and just full of confidence and fearless. In 2009, when we went back, you know, my grandfather was from Grand Junction, and so getting a chance to go back the year he died, that was really special and something that, you know, I was excited about, emotional about. taking that group of sophomores, you know, that's still our best team winning percentage-wise. You know, they won the most games, tied with last year, had the best winning percentage ever. And, you know, that team was outstanding with Ray and Barnett and Feiner and Pena and Moody and Starrett and Lewis and Champlin. I mean, that team was phenomenal. David Carroll. So that was a lot of fun. I think the same thing. I think we thought when we got there we were the best team in the country, and we got to play Howard and lost an extra inning game, and I think even then we still thought we had a chance to win it. So that was a great experience. You know, after waiting 3 years to get back last year and to do it after overcoming so much adversity at the end of the year was really special. And my kids had been on me for 3 straight years about going back to Grand Junction. They love JUCO, so the added pressure, being successful for my family, that felt good.
Good. It's yeah. Go back to. We'll visit last year real quick, you know, because that was my year that I remember the most as being the broadcaster for the team. These players, you're right. They fought a lot of adversity. I mean, you got Salt Lake on your back all year. Salt Lake winning, Salt Lake winning, Salt Lake winning, and I remember telling the players, "Hey, we're gonna get them when it counts the most." And you know, take us back, starting from the conference tournament. Go ahead and take us back and how you just kept your team alive and saying, look, I know we're down, because losing the games to Salt Lake were, you know, just demoralizing. Now, how did you keep your team in it?
Well, the hardest thing to bounce back from, in my opinion, is losing a lead late. Emotionally, coming from ahead to lose is very difficult to deal with. And we might not have been able to deal with that but for the fact that we had a guy named Dylan Baker who went out and threw 8 shutout innings and, you know, gave us a chance to win the next day against a great Southern Nevada team that had a lot to play for. And, you know, then having a guy like Brandon Jackson to come in and finish the game against Southern Idaho that night to save our season. I mean, that day is probably one of the greatest we've ever had in our program, winning those 2 games to keep our season alive. And the feeling we had in our dugout following the second game was unbelievable, knowing that we'd managed to fight for another week in our season. Yeah, when we lost the next day, we had a lead and we lost to Salt Lake for the region championship. Again, you know, heartbreaking, but we knew we had another chance. Really, the thing that made it extra difficult was school and the travel. And, you know, we had to come back and get ready for final exams. And that's not an easy thing to do at the end of the year when you're playing those types of games and traveling as much as we did. And so for our guys to earn the, you know, National Junior College Spring Academic Team of the Year award and make it to the World Series, we were the only team this year out of 10 teams at the World Series to be named Academic Spring Team of the Year. So it just says a lot about the character and the tradition that our program has, that the guys want to keep those traditions going. So it's fun to be a part of.
We'll get back to the all academic. I want to get back to that later. When you got into the Western District tournament, again, we go to Salt Lake for the 3rd time, and everybody was joking with you and with myself and with the team that we could be, you know, official residents of Salt Lake, going back so much in 3 weeks. In that tournament, we face Salt Lake, and what were you thinking in that game? You put Dylan Baker to close it out, and you have Rain Raven at first getting the backhand, and he even said that, you know, his heart was not racing that fast ever before. So when you're playing that game, did you think that we were going to win that game?
I think we're going to win every game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, until it's over, I think we're going to win. And, I mean, we've been preaching since August 10th of last year for the freshmen and the guys that were in the program once, and since August 10th the year before for the sophomores, that we got to play every pitch. And, you know, that message takes a long time to instill, and then when you see it happen, you can do some special things. And Taylor Smart and Chris Woolley, those guys know how to play every pitch. And Zach Hendricks, he knows how to play every pitch. And so, you know, it was a tight game, and certainly we'd had some failure against Salt Lake previously that year, but, you know, we've also beaten them plenty of times as well. I mean, they've been a good competition for us for the last 2 years. We played them 21 times, I think, but that's a lot to play the same team. And it makes it fun when they're as talented and as they are, and that was a great team. So that was a nice play Rain made, nice play Dylan made to end the game. I didn't even really get to see the call. I thought the call was close and could have gone either way, but all our guys tell me that he was out, and I believe him.
So then you fast forward to the next day. You have 2 games to win and go to the Promised Land in JUCO World Series, and then, you know, Salt Lake again doesn't. They're a, you know, a no die attitude. They're like, hey, we can win these 2 games. We did it the year previous at your house. So they're coming back, and then we're up to bat, and we have 2 runners on, and Alex Schmidt at the plate, and Schmidt was chasing those changeup in the dirt all day, and then he waits on one, and you see it go up the middle. And what were you thinking at that point as it got into that outfield?
I was just really happy for Alex, really happy for our team, really happy for our assistant coaches. Thankful and proud, and a lot of emotions. Excited, and yeah, just happy for the players, happy that they got to experience that, and I think it made it all the sweeter having overcome all the adversity that had been put in front of them during the year, and knowing how much heart and soul they put into the team. And it didn't come easy, you know, and when things don't come easy, they're pretty sweet when you get them. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And then, as you mentioned previously, all academic team of the year, and you have to, the team as a whole has to accumulate a 3.0 GPA. That's not easy to do with 25 guys, and you've done it 6 times in 7 seasons, and not many teams can say that, not many at all. Now, what do you say about that and about your players going to school?
Well, I think a lot of times, and I'm not, you know, I'm trying to be as good a parent as I can be, but a lot of times as a parent or coach or teacher, a leader of any business, family, if you set high expectations, people are pretty amazing. I think people, if you give them a clear idea of what they want to accomplish and why it's important to accomplish, and then give them the tools necessary to accomplish it, I think people enjoy rising to the occasion. And I think that our players take a lot of pride in what they've accomplished. And, you know, they've done that for a long time. Guys like Chad Walling and Jesse Rasner, you know, got us started in the right direction when the program started. And guys like Kyle Bondurant and Dan Grubbs kept the tradition going. And Josh Moody and Kyle Starrett and Jerome Pena and Lance Ray and Brooks Klein and Sean Dwyer. We've had a lot of phenomenal students come through here that understand that they're only going to be playing baseball for a limited time, and that it is a lot of fun and it can be their passion, but their career is most likely going to be something outside of baseball. And they're just good people that take advantage of the opportunities they're given, you know, to go to school for free at Western Nevada. And a lot of them get an opportunity to go to school for free at a 4-year college and get a degree. So getting degrees that's our number 2 goal in our program, behind building character. And those are the 2 things we spend the most time talking about during the year. I mean, we don't practice our pickoff plays as much as some of the other teams, and we don't practice our bunt Ds as much as some of the other teams, but we talk a lot about being good people. We talk a lot about graduating and excelling in the classroom, and I think it's been paying off.
Talk about a little bit about your philosophy. When you first came into Western Nevada, what were you say, okay, cool, I got the job now. What do I do and look for in people? What is my coaching philosophy? What do I expect from my players and what do they expect from me? How did you come up with your philosophy? Because let me tell you, parents have always said, look, these guys are great people. Not they don't win baseball games. That's not their first thing. They want them to be a great person in life. So how did you come up with that philosophy?
You know, I got a great book called the College Baseball Coaching Bible, where a lot of the greatest college baseball coaches of all time wrote chapters. I got a lot of information out of there. I mean, Mark Marquis at Stanford was a program that I paid special attention to because my brother-in-law played there, and because of my wife's family, I got to go to Stanford and watch them play quite a few times, and I admired the way they played because they played smart, and I felt like if you had an intelligent team, you have a better chance of win. Baseball seemed to be a cerebral game. So that really was a foundation of that. John Wooden was somebody that we tried to gear our program around his writing, his teaching, his philosophy. I mean, we've stolen so much material from John Wooden over the years. It's amazing. I mean, he's probably been the #1 role model for our style of leadership and our style of team. I think, you know, there's a lot of them out there. Bill Belichick, I mean, I like a lot of what he does in creating an attitude that every player on the team is a leader. So we established 5 goals for our program to start, and it was to build character, to graduate our players, to have fun, to build lifelong relationships, and win championships. And we thought that you couldn't spend a lot of time worrying about winning championships, but what you could do is spend a lot of time worrying about the first 4 things: building character, graduating your players, having fun, and building relationships. And we got done with the first year, and we hung a banner on the fence, and we thought, well, that worked. We're going to keep doing that. And every year, that's been our focus, those 4 things. As far as the players go, you know, we don't have a rule book or anything like that. Well, we do have 5 expectations for our players: to be respectful to everyone and everything, the umpire, the other team, their girlfriend, themselves, their coaches, their teachers. Number 2 is look, listen, and learn. Got that from Rob Wilson at Sierra College, who I played for. Demand excellence, be a great competitor, and be a great teammate. And those are the things that we talk about more than the technique of fielding a ground ball. And what we've found is that when guys love what they're doing and they love who they're doing it with, then they're capable of amazing things. And I think that when Wooly goes into the hole and leaves his feet and makes a great backhand, he's not doing it for the program. He's not doing it for me. He's doing it for the other guys in uniform with him on the field. And you know, they have a lot of fun together, and we try to make practice fun. We try to make games fun, and try to keep things in perspective, which is easier said than done, because we invest a lot of time, and when you invest a lot of time, you have high expectations. Losing hurts, and sometimes you can get winning and losing out of perspective, but that's something we strive to do.
And looking into the future, you have a good team coming in. You have a lot of returning players: Cole Ferguson, Mike Umscheid, a lot of other returning players. This next season, you're down a team because Eastern Utah decided to leave for Division II. How do you go about the season and getting things started? Once you have your recruits and everything, as a coach, how do you set yourself to get this season on the roll?
Well, I mean, the first thing is you got to begin to develop chemistry, and you got to teach good habits. But really, it's going to be the same thing we've always done, which is try and get better faster than everybody else. And a lot of times people get caught up with getting better, but just getting better is not good enough, because everybody's getting better. And we want to get better faster than everybody else. And the way we do that is it takes every guy on the team, for one. Can't get better faster than anybody else if you're leaving players behind or you're only coaching the best players. So we'll coach 1 through 36 all fall exactly the same way. And just getting in that mindset that you can't make up for tomorrow today. You know, that was something John Wooden said. You can't have a 110% day tomorrow. All you can do tomorrow is 100%, which means if you decide to give 90 today, you're never going to get it back. And we try to just drill the importance of every drill, every day, everything you got, and get better faster than everybody else. And really, one of the big things is that really takes the pressure off in our program is we're going to judge ourselves based on feeling successful about our effort rather than letting somebody else determine whether we won or what our batting average is. So that's what we'll do. I think this coming season we have the toughest schedule we've ever had. And I know I'm guilty of having said that before in the past, but I believed it, and I believe it again. I think with Mount Hood coming down for 4 non-conference games, playing a 9th game against Salt Lake, a 9th game against Southern Idaho, a 9th game against Southern Nevada, it's going to be the toughest schedule we've ever had. We had a lot of success against Eastern Utah. So having them not on the schedule for 8 games is just going to make things even more difficult. We graduated our top 7 pitchers from last year. We graduated 7 out of 9 starting position players. So, we lost 14 of the best 16 players on our team from last season. I mean, this is going to be a whole new team, and I expect that it's going to take us the whole year in order to get where we want to go. I don't think it's ever going to be easy. I don't think we're ever going to be the favorite. I don't think it's going to ever be time where we can put it in cruise control. I think we're just going to have to keep our foot on the gas, and by the end of the year we'll be as good as we need to be.
How important is it to have returning players, especially in the pitching department? Because as you said, you graduated a lot of your pitchers. You have Evan Parker coming back. You have Donald Glover coming back for a 3rd year because he medical redshirt last year. How important is it to have a nucleus of returning players to teach the new guys coming in about the program and the philosophy and how you guys do what you do?
Exceptionally important. I mean, it's impossible to overstate the importance of having those returning players. And this group of returning players doesn't have a ton of experience on the field, but they are possibly the best group of people we've ever had returning in our program. We have a lot of quality citizens, students, phenomenal leadership abilities in this group of people. So I'm excited for them to come back and show the incoming players the right way to do things. In our program, at least on the field, leading isn't talking, it's doing. It's just do the right thing, and other people will see you do the right thing. So yeah, I'm excited to have Brandon Show back, and Austin Richmond and Evan Parker. I mean, those guys are awesome. I think pitching more than hitting is easier to do as a freshman. Has been our experience in a short time here, 7 years. I think if we had to pick, we could only have one. We'd probably want returning position players because of the grind of playing with a wood bat, the grind of playing on the road, the grind of the travel, the grind of dealing with your batting average going on, down 200 points from high school. And we have some good returning position players as well with, like you said, Mike Umscheid and Rain Raven and Cole Ferguson and A.J. Hernandez and Glover. Those 5 guys are going to do a great job for us next year.
Now, for yourself, you told me this last year on the road, but what are your goals for yourself as far as your coaching career goes? You have set goals that you'd like to do, and you told me, you said I'd like to win a national championship, obviously, for National Junior College, but what are your next steps?
Well, I mean, right now I'm a coach at Western Nevada College, and I want to win the national championship at Western Nevada College with this group of players in 2013. That's my goal, and I'm going to put as close to 100% of my resources into accomplishing that goal as I can. And I'm not very good at worrying about the future. I don't really know what I'm doing tomorrow. I just know that today we're going to do everything we can for this program to make it as strong as it can be. I think if I step back a minute from that and thought about the future, I'd like to win a national championship in Omaha after I win a national championship in Grand Junction. I would like to take on the challenge of coaching at the Division I level. I have a tremendous amount of respect for not only the coaches in our conference and at the junior college level, whether it's John Wente at Central Arizona, or Britt Smith at Howard, or Tom Arrington at San Jac, or D.G. Nelson at Salt Lake. But I also have a lot of respect for the coaches that are doing it at the Division I level, and I would like the opportunity to prove that I can be successful there and run a good program at that level. Most importantly, I have 4 kids, you know, and they're getting older. They're going to college. They're going to need braces, and my assistant coaches have families. And outside of Aaron Demosthenes, our assistant coaches, there's been a little bit of a revolving door because we don't have the resources to pay them. And I would love the opportunity to be a Division I coach, pay my assistant coaches, and have the continuity of a coaching staff to be with the same people for 10 or 20 years. So eventually that's the goal, is to pay for kids to go to college, have my assistant coaches make a living coaching baseball, and hopefully win a national championship in Omaha.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, and like you, I'm looking forward to this next year and being the voice of every game. And trust me, this program is going to continue to be successful with you at the helm, and any program out there would be successful with you at the helm. So
thanks for all your help. Thanks for broadcasting the games. I know that made it super exciting for everybody last year. I think just the overall excitement level last year is probably the pinnacle of our program. I think you played a big role in that. Appreciate it. Look forward to you calling the games again this year, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a great season.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks for your time.
All right.